And welcome back to a segment we're calling Coverage and Coffee. And Jason, what are we talking about?
Well, Luke, we're talking about simple insurance information to let people be a little more informed whenever they're seeing a lot of commercials on television or even going to talk to their agent, so they have a little more information about their policy and what they're getting themselves into to make a better buying decision.
Sounds good. What's the topic today?
Today we're going to be talking about state minimum coverages, and as I was saying, this is not a commercial. This is more of a way to teach people about their coverages. So with state minimum coverages, which is what normally you hear about on television, television commercials, they're just trying to sell you the cheapest. They're just trying to get you to buy a policy, okay?
And you've really, over the last, the past year or so, you've seen a lot of commercials where they keep harping on the state minimum.
Yes, exactly. The keep you legal for less mentality.
Right.
And it's almost about 1 in 5 commercials that you see that have these commercials.
Okay, so what do you got for us here?
Well, first off, let's find out what state minimum coverage is. So, state minimum coverage is $15,000 per person. That's all you get. If you hurt somebody in a car accident, $15,000 per person. And then $30,000 per accident. So if you were to hit me and a group of friends, you have $30,000 for the whole group, but up to $15,000 for one person. And then $5,000 in property coverage. So if you hit my car, if you hit a house, if you hit a building, you only have $5,000, and with the price of cars going up, that $5,000 is probably something that you're probably not going to be able to afford. You're going to owe it yourself. So, with my brother, let's take my brother's car accident. My brother was in a car accident back in 2000. He was life flighted to Pittsburgh. He was in the ICU for about 2 weeks, and he was in occupational rehab for 2.5 weeks. They had to keep him in an induced coma and put him, again, like I said, through occupational rehab. It wasn't a cheap accident. It was actually around $92,000, $95,000.
Wow.
Okay. Now, me, along with a lot of other agents here in Titusville and across Pennsylvania, we like to take care of our clients. Working with an agent is obviously a smarter thing to do because you can have that conversation with them and figure things out, not just talk to your computer and just put in some information. Talking with an agent, you're going to get a lot more. And normally, what you see from independent agents or even State Farm, Allstate, Nationwide, they want to protect you. And what they want to do is give you a little higher limits of $100,000 per person, $300,000 per accident, and $100,000 in property damage. So take my brother's accident, and actually with this, you'll be covered. Keeping you legal for less is only going to save you, what, a little bit of money, a couple $100 on a speeding ticket, maybe if that's why you got pulled over and they found out that you didn't have insurance, and then an extra fine for not having coverage. With this, you're actually going to protect yourself a lot more and sleep a lot better at night knowing that if you were in a car accident and you were the one that hit my brother, you're actually going to be better protected by making sure that the insurance company is going to take care of the bill instead of you.
I would think, Jason, that with the cost of property today, with the cost of medical bills today, and if you haven't looked at your medical bill, if you've been to the hospital recently, take a look at it. Those things aren't cheap.
They are not cheap. Like I said, my a life flight alone now is between $10,000 and $15,000 to take you up to Erie or down to Pittsburgh. It's really scary in terms of the cost. And a lot of people are just thinking, I just got to save money. And you want to save money, but at the same time, you don't want to be out on the road, with whatever coverage just because it was the cheapest. And a little quick fact for you, I do get a lot of people in that don't have insurance, whether they just bought a car for the first time, maybe they didn't have a car for a while, their car broke down, they didn't have a car, had to bum rides, and now they're coming in, they got a car, whether it was new or used, and they need to get insurance. And we do have companies for that, like Progressive, and they actually do have a really good deal for people. And again, I'm not here to sell, but what I'm trying to tell you is with the higher limits, it's actually cheaper than getting the state minimum coverages, and people don't realize that. They see the lower amounts of coverage, So they think a lower premium. They don't realize, they see higher coverage and they think higher premium. So whenever we discuss coverages and I show them the price, there's actually a nerdy, I always call them nerds in closets, the actuaries that put the rates together.
Yeah.
And what we found, what I see a lot actually, is where people who get the higher limits pay a lower rate, and that's because safer drivers are more inclined to get the higher limits than the lower limits, which means the rate's actually going to be lower per thousand on the higher limits than they are on the lower limits, and you're actually paying a lot more for lower limit coverage.
Wow.
And actually getting higher limits is going to actually save you money. I've even seen sometimes where it's cheaper by $300 every 6 months.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, and you don't realize it because you think you're actually getting, you see more and you think cost is more, when actually if you get less, your cost is going to be higher.
So if you're watching those commercials and you see state minimum, stay away. Jason?
Run the other way.
Run the other way. How can folks get a hold of don't run till you get your insurance.
Yes, don't run till you get your insurance. Play it safe.
Yeah, how can folks get a hold of you?
They can give me a call at 827-7767. I'm right over in the Park Building.
All righty, he is Jason Bidish from Barr's Insurance. And this has been Coverage and Coffee. Jason, we'll see you next week.
See you next week, Luke. Thanks.